Open Gemini will experience several changes during for this year. The annual prediction describes the ruling planet Mercury, which will appear in retrograde motion up to 4 times during for this year. However, not only Mercury will affect the energies of Gemini. In general, Gemini represents a social and communicative person. The forecast predicts that it will be the same in this year. At this time, Gemini focuses on trust towards others and towards itself. Gemini is often concerned with righting wrongs in the world. In order to feel better during this year, it will be necessary to engage in charitable activities. Only if you help others, you too can grow, feel better. The Gemini prediction describes the incoming energies of the year. A Gemini is always up for an intellectual challenge. Whether in a relationship, at friendly and family gatherings, or in the company of coworkers. Your intelligence is developing this year, especially in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th months of the year. You are very interested in getting to know yourself from March until the summer months. You want to understand the world around you. You are more concerned not only with practical things, but also with faith, and with questions about life, your being. Gemini is always ready. He will be an interesting companion in this year as well. Social events await you, which will enrich you with new friends. Maybe also for new contacts related to employment. The Gemini love forecast for this period warns every Gemini in relationship about flirting, which can arise at just such a social event. Every Gemini who is going through a partner or marriage crisis should be careful. In this respect, you are extremely vulnerable at the end of the year. For this year is also specific for the rapid movement of the ruling planet Mercury through the houses, during several periods. The ruler of Gemini, the planet that also rules the sign of Virgo, creates a mental plane between ideas and practicality. Similarly, in this year, thoughts about existence and everyday decisions appear in Gemini. It is thanks to the favorable movements of Mercury at certain moments of this year that you manage to step in the right direction. The unfavorable position of your ruler robs Gemini of a large chunk of energy. For this reason, it is advisable to know the exercises or the possibilities of how to deal with, for example, the retrograde shift of this planet. During for this year, Mercury in astrology means the union of thinking and the way of communication. It is the planet of verbal understanding. Planet of expression. Gemini's ability to make rational decisions will reappear in this year. So, during the year, Gemini does not make decisions only with his heart. At certain times of the year, especially when the 7th house is relatively strongly occupied, your heart comes to the fore. The decisions you make are focused on what you feel. These energies occur in the final months of this year. That's when your ruler, the planet Mercury, moves through the 7th house of astrology. And that in the company of Mars and Venus. Mercury will influence not only the way Gemini speaks or thinks. This influence of a powerful planet is clearly not directed only at the Gemini zodiac sign. All 12 zodiac signs are influenced by this planet. However, for Gemini, the movement of the planet is more important, because Mercury lends the greatest power to this sign. The prediction predicts that, especially in the 2nd half of this year, Gemini will tend to move constantly. You have trouble staying in one place. It is this energy of yours that will balance the more passive beginning of this year. In the beginning, you are not only focusing on work and finances, but also on the question of where your life is headed. The placement of planets in the 12th astrological house from mid-April to the final days of May can be a complicated period for Gemini. The forecast for this period Gemini predicts that your color of the year will be green. The luckiest day for Gemini should be Wednesday. You have a lot of energy on this day, and you know how to finish things that are important. Thanks to the color green, you can concentrate better. You can bring more positive energy into the home. Green is also important for a Gemini's office. The prediction recommends not forgetting to enrich the office and home with accessories of green color. The introductory forecast also talks about compatibility in love and overall compatibility in relationships, whether with coworkers, friends, or family. A good match in love, understanding, and the most positive energy await Gemini with the Libra and Aquarius sign. Bigger problems can arise in Gemini's relationship with Pisces sign, or with the fourth sign of the zodiac, Cancer. In friendly relationships, the prediction warns against a toxic relationship of Gemini with the sign of Virgo or Scorpio. The forecast does not advise you to gossip with these signs. Slandering others with these two signs could cause complications, a worse reputation, and even the loss of real friends. On the contrary, Gemini perceives high quality and strong friendships in this year, mainly with the Taurus and Aries sign. You can turn to these two friends whenever you need advice, help, and even a financial loan. Overall excellent relationships, not only friendly, sociable and love, the prediction predicts Gemini and Sagittarius. You agree with it on several life issues. There will definitely be no negative surprises in your mutual relationship from Sagittarius. The Gemini love horoscope for this period says so much in the introduction. The prediction defines many interesting astrological transits that affect the energy and strength of each Gemini. It is not only the observation of the ruling planet Mercury that is important, but also the strength of other aspects. In this forecast, the forecast will look at the year-round position of Venus, Mercury, the Sun, the Moon, as well as the other planets influencing the various directions of life for each Gemini. The Gemini prediction adds in the introduction. Negative energies of this year affect Gemini. The problem of this year will be nervousness for Gemini. At work, as well as in private matters, Gemini's inconsistency can be manifested. Overall, this is one of the negative characteristics of this, the third sign of the zodiac. Many Geminis also face indecision in their relationship, which can deprive you of new experiences. Gemini will struggle with the mentioned negative qualities during for this year. Especially if you are affected by more negative transits, which is also predicted by this year's forecast for this period. Unfortunately, Gemini can expect nervous energy as soon as for this year arrives. Mercury is in a retrograde position until January 18th. Acts on the 8th house of Gemini. It is in the last phase of retrograde movement. It affects the independence of Gemini. You feel that your decisions are influenced by the opinions of others, and you are not far from the truth. Time organization is a problem for Gemini. Therefore, it may happen that you come to work late these days, that you do not have time to finish the things you had planned. It makes no sense for a Gemini to make New Year's resolutions. These are blocked by Mercury in retrograde direction. It does not allow to observe self-discipline right from the beginning of the year. This could lead to a feeling of failure and self-doubt. It is better to postpone New Year's resolutions until the following month. With Mercury placed in this way, you do not feel the best in relationships. And that is why it is very appropriate to spend more time with yourself, with your inner self. The forecast predicts that you will analyze your thoughts more. However, this negative aspect of the astrological transit of Mars will not last long. Already in the second half of January, Gemini feels more active and the mind is more open. Retrograde Mercury, which is a dreaded astrological transit for every zodiac sign, gets to speak again from April 21st to May 15th. Right now, it is in the 12th house in Gemini. This position of Mercury is one of the most difficult positions. During this period, Gemini can again feel nervous inside. Added to all this is inconsistency. The second retrograde Mercury also means great confusion related to the past. Gemini now does not accept traditional approaches to life. He is a rebel, he does things the way they shouldn't. Usually, Gemini in this position of Mercury tries to get on the spiritual path, but without success. It is extremely difficult to understand your zodiac sign. For this reason, Gemini's closest relationships can be complicated. Gossip and slandering others is a very inappropriate behavior for a Gemini during this period. It could immediately reflect on Gemini's good reputation. Because other people don't understand you, you tend to withdraw into yourself. This is also a manifestation of Mercury in the 12th astrological house, when Gemini becomes a voluntary introvert. Chances are, you'll also underestimate yourself. However, Geminis with Mercury placed in this way find joy in creative activity. Thanks to an active way of life, you can overcome this negative aspect during the month of April and in the first half of May, adds the Gemini annual prediction. The next negative aspect comes with a stronger occupation of the 12th house in the months of May and June. In these months, the placement of Mercury, the Sun and Uranus is a harbinger of solitude and silence. Many Geminis desire to spend more time with themselves. This position of the astrological planets can significantly affect those Geminis who are exhausted and lack rest. It is for this reason that the fortune teller recommends that you use the previous months February and March for a comprehensive rest. However, we will talk more about this in the following parts of the forecast. Anyway, the months of April and May are the time when you want to disappear, to be invisible to the world around. The prediction also predicts a problematic period for students born under the sign of Gemini, who cannot finish things. A Gemini does best if he helps others during these months, thus forgetting his own worries. However, it is also important to rest and to perceive one's own needs in relation to the environment, underlines the Gemini horoscope. Venus retrograde, which operates from July 23rd to September 4th, also seems complicated astrological. It mainly affects a Gemini's love life and his relationships with other people. Again, the prediction reminds us to avoid toxic relationships that have no meaningful future. In relationships, the greatest complications can occur precisely with the Pisces sign, or with the fourth sign of the zodiac, Cancer. In friendly relations, relationships with Virgo and Scorpio will be complicated, especially during the period when the external forces of Venus act on you. You have trouble synchronizing any relationships. A Gemini who is in a long-term partner relationship feels that the other person no longer understands him at all. This complicated position of retrograde Venus will be felt in every Gemini. The smallest intervention in the Gemini's soul is the analysis of one's own feelings, which is sure to occur in every person born under this zodiac sign. The mentioned constellation of Venus is also very disadvantageous for marriage, or a faster shift in the relationship. Therefore, it is not recommended for Gemini to make big decisions in relationships during this period. First, you need to free yourself from the insecurity that affects you about the past. At the end of August, when retrograde Venus acts on Gemini, this negative aspect is also joined by Mercury acting in the fourth house. For the third time this year in retrograde, Mercury directs Gemini's attention to family relationships. You think back to the past, thinking about the fact that your family's needs are tying your hands. There can be many demands from your family. This robs you of your energy, which is why you feel extremely exhausted at the end of August. However, the horoscope for this period predicts that the second half of this year will be less difficult for Gemini people. You can therefore look forward to more beautiful moments when Gemini discovers the beauties of life. You relax and finally enjoy the favorable period that occurs in the second half of this year. The Gemini prediction predicts no extraordinary interventions in the Gemini's life and no impact on your life in a negative way. Only at the end of the year, some unpleasant questions may arise regarding your relationship and future in love. As for work and finances, the forecast does not foresee major complications in these matters. Well, the Gemini work and finance prediction will take a closer look at that in the next parts. Gemini prediction for the positives of this year. As the prediction already mentioned in its forecast, the beginning of this year, and even the first half of this period, can be more difficult for Gemini. Even if you feel the negative aspect of Mercury in the first month of this year until January 18th, the second half of this month will be more favorable. The Sun, Saturn, and Venus gradually enter the 9th house. Thanks to this, you perceive the practical reality of life. You can relate to real values. Your intelligence is multiplied. Philosophical debates and theories that Gemini loves to discuss now have their audience. You become closer to family members, who are now not only your family but also your friends. Relationships mainly with Libra, Aquarius, Aries, Taurus, and Sagittarius sign flourish. Every Gemini enjoys very favorable moments in the second half of January and in the months of February and March. These are not disturbed by any negative transits. These favorable energies last until April 21st. In these moments, you have the opportunity to accomplish everything that you did not accomplish in the previous months and years. You debate with others about the possibilities in your life. You are a listener, but also an excellent advisor. Your friendships deepen this year. And that is the favorable prediction provided by the forecast for this year. You know which topics you should not discuss in the family, which are sensitive. On the other hand, you also enjoy the fact that no one negatively judges your way of life or your past decisions. The forecast for this period also recommends every Gemini to use these months of the year for relaxation, perhaps even for travel. Treat yourself to a vacation too. Go somewhere warm, somewhere under the sun, which will replenish the necessary vitamin D and improve not only your mood but also your immunity. If you are wondering which months of this year are suitable for a vacation, it is also the beginning of the year, but also its second half. Gemini is gifted with very intense moments of joy from astrological aspects. You have days ahead of you that are ideal for relaxation. However, you have to use them to overcome the more negative energy that comes already from April 21st, as mentioned by the prediction in the previous specification of the year. Gemini should use the second half of January, and the months of February and March, as well as the first half of April, to improve their rating. Even students born under the Gemini sign can improve their grades. Astrological aspects also speak of a simple shift in work. Also, about finding the desired job more easily. Therefore, these months will also be joyful for unemployed Gemini. But also, for those who are looking for new directions and application in life. The mentioned months are therefore extremely favorable for every Gemini, and he should use them in full beauty, for his well-being. The next, extremely favorable period is predicted by the horoscope in the second half of this year. In the second decade of September, the negative aspects of the astrological energies that moved around Gemini will calm down. Since September 15th, energies are set in the right direction. Gemini, you can enjoy the well-being again, which will also appear in the health of Gemini in this year. The prediction describes the heart chakra, which can be blocked during negative periods. You should strengthen it in this year so that your health is harmonious and balanced. The heart chakra comes to the fore mainly in the second half of the year, when positive energies from the universe advise you to strengthen your inner box. The Gemini forecast for the second half of the year predicts the planets moving through the 6th, 7th, and 8th houses of Gemini. In September, you will still focus on positive family relationships, especially in the second half of September. The movement of Mercury from the 4th to the 6th house in September is a very fast movement. It will intensively affect your family relationships, as well as the Gemini's own identity. The positive news is that Gemini is not aware of his own problems now, but he knows what a great person he has become. You no longer look negatively at your own life. With the right analytical method, you can also help other people who have problems. There is no problem with accepting other people's opinions. This is great news for any Gemini, after a difficult period. The quick transit of Mercury through the fifth house of relationships and sexuality can mean a positive, but sometimes very analytical approach to Gemini's intimate life. In any case, in Gemini, this rapid transition evokes playfulness and intensity. You think about an intimate connection with your partner or with someone new, especially with a close Gemini. For single Geminis, this aspect of September is very interesting. It can mean a thoughtless approach to intimate pleasure. This part of the prediction isn't a positive forecast, but every Gemini who succumbs to this passionate side of Mercury in September should also pay attention to their health and protect themselves sufficiently. Geminis in a long-term partnership now enjoy being close to each other. The months of October, November, and December are months that are favorably focused on the love of every Gemini. Love applies not only to partner relationships, but also to friends. Gemini stays mainly in a close circle of loved ones. Curiosity drives you forward. You have no problem with communication. You and your partner try to solve things without nervousness and shouting. The end for this year is described by the forecast with the word joy. Gemini now has an open approach to any interpersonal relationships. You build better relationships with your partner. You strengthen family bonds, it deepens friendships. Relationships with coworkers are less complicated for you. Such a final forecast for this period is truly an excellent prediction for any Gemini who wants to relax after a difficult period. Gemini prediction for love and relationships. Interesting news this year concerns Gemini and its partnership. At the beginning of the year, Jupiter is in the sector of helping other people. It manifests itself harmoniously not only in long-lasting Gemini relationships. You are connected to the power of this planet, and meditation helps you understand yourself and your partner better. In previous years, you may have perceived the less flattering side of your relationship with your partner. You probably had an unflattering perception of yourself. Partner relationships, which were laid on weak foundations in the past, will also be subject to pressure in this year. The forecast defines this year as a period of close relationships, especially in the second part of the year. Mercury and Jupiter enter the 11th astrological house. Thanks to the settlement of Mercury, your ruler in this relationship sector, your social relationships will also flourish. This position of the planet means expanding horizons and diverse thoughts. In these moments, Gemini's attention is mostly focused on friendly relationships and the closest family members. As for partner relationships, the first half of the year also belongs to a certain discomfort. It's time to do what you feel comfortable doing. The months of February, March, April are mainly favorable months for every Gemini. And that also in the matter of relationships and developing a partnership. However, the prediction says that the time has come to resolve matters related to finances or mutual secrets. From April 21st to May 15th, the ruler of Gemini goes into retrograde motion. Retrograde Mercury in the first house alerts Gemini to childishness and naivety. This period can torment you. It can be complicated in the matter of existing relationships and problems related to finances or religion. Gemini's intimate life may face some challenges now. The planets are not in a good position, so you can perceive dissatisfaction and disturbing vibrations. Fantasizing about a partner will not escape any Gemini in this year. You put your partner on a pedestal or imagine qualities that they do not have. You dream of someone else, which brings you disappointment in your ordinary days. This idealization of your partner is likely in the month of May. At that time, the aspects are concentrated on the 12th house of Gemini, which damages the correct thinking about your future and present. Now it is not even suitable time for a shift in the relationship or for big decisions related to the future in your partnership. The forecast also defines the moments that are correctly directed to a Gemini marriage. However, these moments will occur only in the second decade of this year. and specifically, after the more negative transits have passed. Even though Saturn is in retrograde motion in the 10th house from June 17th to November 6th, it warns you against decisive decisions. Dedication and responsibility are evident for this Saturn. From August, the year turns favorable for those who want to take the relationship to a new level. The second decade of this year will also bring pleasure to those Geminis who have been trying to expand their family for a long time. Astrological aspects are set to support your fertility and the right decisions. Therefore, if you are planning a wedding, the conception of a baby, or you are just wondering which period in this year is the most favorable for your relationship, these are mainly the months from August until the arrival of 2024. These will encourage not only fertility and the joy of a mutual relationship with your partner. They will also improve your intimacy with your partner. You are aware of yourself. You can see exactly your partner's faults, but also his strengths. You no longer notice the incorrect thinking about your partner that was specific to the opening weeks of the year. September can evoke great seriousness in some Geminis. On the other hand, you can look critically not only at others, but also at yourself. Problems and fear of rejection disappear from your soul. You promote stronger self-confidence, which is not only good for you, but also attractive to your partner. Emotional games played with a partner in the beginning of this year are now taboo. During the cycle of the second part of the year, you have a chance to really explore the heart of your partner, but also yourself. The correct position of the planets at the end of the year, especially in the months of September, October and November, means the elimination of illusions. You are getting into a better position in your life. You look at the world and relationships more realistically. You find balance and truth in your relationship and in your heart. In August, Mercury moves rapidly through the sector of your family relationships. Thanks to this, you can identify with the problems and feelings of family members, children, and your partner. September is the month when you perceive the end of the second retrograde movement of your ruling planet in the 4th house of astrology. From August 23rd to September 15th, every Gemini perceived the past. He identified with the energies from his childhood. You felt that your partner was tying your hands with his demands. However, these energies come not only from your partner, but also from your children. In your family, the people you care for have great demands, and you feel that you are very exhausted. In these moments, it is essential to support the heart chakra. It is also suitable if you maintain your mental health through walks or emotional development. The prediction recommends you to be more with your loved ones. Focus on what you, your children, or your partner love. Do not inhibit your own expression. The prediction for this period recommends every Gemini to tame negative thoughts. In any argument, it is better to remain silent. The horoscope predicts that these days your words could seriously threaten the stability of your partner relationship. The best thing you can do these days is to devote yourself to study, self-improvement, personal growth. You need to achieve a sense of security, which is mainly hidden inside you. Only if you feel satisfied and safe can you lend these feelings to your loved ones. Furthermore, the prediction predicts that the current year will make great demands on the needs of family members. Don't forget that if you can't consistently take care of yourself, you also lack the energy to worry about others. The months of August and September seem to be quite favorable for Gemini vacations. Even the first stage of the year is suitable for relaxing with children or a partner. From February until the first half of April, go somewhere behind the sun. The forecast says that your partnership deserves care. For this reason, for this year is really suitable for a joint family vacation. The months of February, March, and the beginning of April offer the most favorable vibrations. You can then look forward to a peaceful family vacation from September 15th until the end of this year. These months mentioned by the Gemini prediction are characterized by a calm, family and loving atmosphere tuned in the right direction. From October, several planets are located in the 7th house. This position brings initiative, joy, and extremely warm energy to the partnership. When powerful planets and your ruler move through the 7th house, it means that your relationship is in a strengthened state. Any Gemini who is trying to expand their family feels that now is the right moment. The months of October, November, and the last month of this year, December, are particularly favorable for any shift in the Gemini relationship. Which Gemini relationship will be most successful? A Gemini who is in a relationship with the sign of Libra can look forward to an extremely beautiful year. He can also withstand negative astrological aspects that affect Gemini in other relationships. Gemini and Libra with the most harmonious couple of this year. However, the love of Gemini and Aquarius is not far behind this connection. Two zodiac signs that will understand each other in many ways in this year are endowed with harmonious love and a strong relationship. However, you will generally get along with Aries and Taurus in a relationship. For this year is a year of friendship, strong interpersonal relationships. A year when Gemini discovers itself and true values in a relationship. You will see some people in a new light. Your partner will also break out of some kind of imaginary mask that you have marked him with. You perceive your partner's strengths. You no longer idealize your partner. You see your partner's true positive qualities. Especially the second stage of this year offers several healing connections of your soul with the soul of your partner. Your partner becomes your confidant, your friend. Throughout the year, you tend to stick to true values and what is the best path for you. Therefore, the forecast does not predict any problems in the relationship coming from your side. And not even under the influence of Venus, which passes through the 5th house in September and October. This Venus usually symbolizes problems in relationships of an intimate nature. It can also create a need for new intimate adventures. However, a Gemini in a solid marriage or partnership will simply resist this unflattering position of Venus. However, the prediction warns those Geminis who have doubts in their relationship. They could feel the negative face of Venus. Based on the influence of Venus, which persuades you to have affairs or flirt with someone else, you would have trouble dealing with secrets in the future, but also with your own actions. It is necessary to avoid affairs during the year that do not reflect your nature. For this year is the year of understanding. You understand that at the beginning of the year you formed some vague ideas about your partner. The closest relationships gain a deeper intensity and connection with your heart. You also get to know yourself better. The horoscope predicts that each Gemini is more seriously aware of their partnership. The excellent news is that both your children and your partner help you a lot in your worries throughout the year. The prediction also says that Gemini becomes less dependent than before. And that's thanks to the feeling of freedom from negative thoughts related to the relationship. You also perceive things as they really are. You also involve others in your life and your needs. The most favorable period of this year from the point of view of partner relations are the months of October, November, and December. These months encourage your commitments. And so, you perceive them more seriously. These months will bring joy and happiness to more than one Gemini. And also, the news mentioned by prediction in the introduction of the forecast. Joyful new news awaits every Gemini at the end of the year. Annual forecast for single Gemini for this period. A single Gemini perceives relationships in this year on a new level. You realize that you are no longer interested in short-term entertainment. Obligations and the desire for a long-term connection of your soul with the soul of a loved one are pushing to the forefront of your attention. You take your obligations and your own person more seriously than in previous years. The planet Saturn and the favorable position of the planet Jupiter blesses your future relationships, describes the forecast for this period. The prediction for the first quarter of this year predicts personal growth. From January to March, every single Gemini will focus mainly on themselves. to trust in one's own future. Thanks to the fact that you focus more on building a more favorable personal status, you are also more attractive to other people. In these months, the forecast advises every Gemini to create solid habits. Start sports, follow daily routines that may seem boring. But they teach you self-confidence, respect, and love for yourself. Thanks to the fact that the prediction speaks of this year's energies as extremely friendly, it is clear that your interpersonal relationships will be extremely favorable. You also involve others in your own duties. The family understands you, is helpful. Such energies also come from your friends, who are an important part of every single Gemini's life. The horoscope also describes a return to an ex-partner, which does not seem to be the best idea in this year. Forecast advises moving forward. Look no further into the past, which has already passed, which you can no longer save. Forget everything in the past, move forward, advises the year-round forecast for this period. The vibrations of the universe in this year are set for new things in the life of Gemini and news that favorably supports you. Not only the second half of the year will be interesting in Gemini relationships. The beginning of the year mainly belongs to the fact that you remove high demands on your future partner. Thanks to the unrealistic ideas about the future partner that you have cultivated in your mind until now, you have been a closed book. A person who pushed away any future relationships. But this year, everything will change. The second quarter of this year talks about removing ideas that are unrealistic for your future. Based on this, you will see a certain friend in your life with new eyes. You perceive the people around you in a completely new light, so many a Gemini can fall in love with someone they have known for a long time. The prediction warns every Gemini about the unfavorable movement of the planets from May to June. That's when someone from your past may speak up. It is these energies that are especially noticeable in an unmarried Gemini. For the one who worries about the past for a long time. Now the universe will test you again. He wants to know if you are a person who will repeat past mistakes. Don't let the past affect you and move forward, like the relationship forecast for this period. As with 𝙃𝙚𝙖𝙡𝙯 Gemini, singles will draw mainly from the second part of the year. Astrological transits noticeable mainly at the end of this year bring charm, lightness, and naturalness to every Gemini. Throughout the year, the prediction predicts many social events that can enrich you with new acquaintances. The love affairs that you will deal with during the year will be more long-term in nature. A love triangle or inappropriate intimate behavior can occur in the months of October and November for a single Gemini. In these months, the planet Venus in the 5th astrological house will cause a disturbance in your nature. Some Geminis, especially those who constantly struggle with the past, will be tested again. Venus in the 5th astrological house is a position that predicts inappropriate intimate connections for unmarried Geminis. In this case, you have to realize your true worth during the year. And this will be achieved by almost every Gemini who can identify with himself and his status this year. Over the course of the year, more than one Gemini realizes that solitude actually suits him. Another uses the opportunities that the universe offers. You will use every opportunity to grasp true love that will last. The Gemini forecast for singles talks about all the opportunities that the universe will offer this year. Your naturalness and stronger self-confidence are your sexiest qualities in this year. Your attractiveness is extremely high, especially in the second half of the year. Several single Geminis are waiting for interesting meetings even on a trip or on vacation. Prediction for singles says to protect yourself in the case of short-term romances, not only from physical problems, but also from mental harm. It is clear that in this year, you will definitely fall in love quickly. But choose carefully who steals your heart. Even if you make the right decisions in the second half of the year, the first part of the year is still a period when your vision is blurred, and you look at the people around you, especially potential partners, through rose-colored glasses. The Gemini singles horoscope for this period therefore warns you to take off your rose-colored glasses in the first part of the year, through which you look not only at your ex-partner, but also at those acquaintances who may be your future partner. In this year, you won't have to look for love. She will find you, but the important thing is how you approach her. Many exciting moments are sure to await you. There will be more of them than before. Over several days, you will find a great opportunity to go after what you are looking for. Your desires increase the astrological vibrations of the second part of the year, so you feel that the ball is now in your court. The end of the year is characterized by eagerness to find a person or relationship that has meaning for the future. Gemini family and friends prediction. In several parts, the relationship prediction has already confirmed that will be a period when relationships will be strong. You are building a relationship not only with yourself. Your personal family relationships are strengthened, and the whole year seems to be rightly tuned for improving family relationships. Friendship is a precious gift that you will be blessed with during this period as well. According to the forecast, several social events are waiting for Gemini. If you are an unmarried Gemini and you are expected to arrive at a social event with your partner, be sure to reach out to one of your close friends. Not only will you see this person in a new light, you will enjoy moments full of joy and fun. The correct position of astrological aspects throughout the year has a beneficial effect on your family relationships. In this year, no complications related to family members should arise. Perhaps it will only be appropriate to monitor the health of your loved ones more, especially the parents, who will require more of your care in the first half of the year. Sibling or other family relationships flourish. You will not have much time to solve complications or misunderstandings. Since you are attuned, and the cosmic vibrations beckon you to maintain strong and flourishing relationships, you have the right attitude toward any conflict in your family. You know how to calm down the situation, navigate it correctly. That is why you are welcome not only at social events related to your job, but also at family celebrations. What about relationships that have been damaged in the past? According to the prediction, they will be healed in this year. You will find a way to maintain understanding and love in these relationships. Interesting periods for attracting or strengthening mutual understanding are specific to the summer months of this year. From the point of view of family relations, the months of April, May, and the first stage of June seem to be at most unfavorable. During this period, you should not discuss religion or politics with your family, or about other sensitive topics that caused your relationships to deteriorate in the past. Every sector of the astrological chart that looks at Gemini's family relationships is favorable. By emphasizing the positive characteristic features of Gemini, which will be highlighted throughout the year, you are connected to the right path in life. This is perceived not only by your partner or your friends, but also by close family members. Even those who reproached you for wrong steps in life in the previous period, even they now understand that you are following your own path, which is the right one for you. Gemini enjoys a lot of loving energy from family throughout the year. However, the third retrograde Mercury of this year, the period from August 23rd to September 15th, can be slightly disruptive for Gemini relationships. Even in this year, there are certainly periods when the world will not provide you with the environment you would like. You only want to express yourself in an environment where you are sure of yourself. These feelings may dissuade you from dealing with family members who have repeated your mistakes. This period is best used for time spent with yourself. Your identity will manifest itself through right thinking. Your emotional development is considerable in this year. The forecast does not predict any other negative astrological aspects for this year. From this point of view, you can fully enjoy flourishing family relationships. Friendship will also be very strong. The best friendly relationships await you with the sign of Aries and Taurus. You get along on a high level with these two zodiac signs. It is no secret that one of these two signs will be the best and closest friend of a Gemini. However, the prediction also warns against the more negative side of friendly relationships. You should avoid any confrontation with friends born under the sign of Virgo or Scorpio. With these two signs, the horoscope predicts great development in the relationship, especially in friendly or family relationships. On the contrary, Gemini must avoid any slander or gossip, either in the company of the mentioned two signs, or regarding these signs. In any case, gossip is a killer tool for good personal relationships of Gemini for this year. Therefore, avoid them by all means. Happy to conclude the Gemini relationship prediction. Gemini prediction for work and money. In several moments for this year, the prediction predicts a favorable setting of astrological aspects for the pleasure of career advancement. Until January 18th, Mercury is in a retrograde position. The beginning for this year, when Mercury moves through the 8th astrological house, speaks of a strong influence on your emotional impulses, especially in the field of career. So, complications may arise in relation to coworkers. In the first days of this year, it is therefore necessary to avoid any conflicts or lies at work. A Gemini will do best to focus on completing the task and avoid confrontation with others. Later, when the planet Mercury moves into direct motion, Gemini perceives its excellent observational and analytical skills. These can be beneficial not only for Gemini in long-term employment. These qualities are also a benefit for those Geminis who are looking for a new career. The forecast says to be friendly with your colleagues during the first month of this year. You never know from whom a strong helping hand will come to help you build your career. Gemini, whose job is to take care of the household, can look forward to a lot of communication with their partner, family members, or their children in January. They will guide you in the right direction regarding what to improve in the home and what to keep. The following months, which are the entry into for this year, talk about focusing your attention mainly on yourself. Of course, the work will require your full commitment. Mars, located in the first astrological house, will highlight your character. You assert yourself significantly in February and March through your power. During this period, it makes sense to take any steps closer to capturing the job opportunity that is close to you. This recommendation mainly concerns Geminis who are unemployed or those who want to change jobs. You are now a strong and physically resilient person. You can push your interests with great energy. Your strong will is properly directed where you will be satisfied in the future. That is why it is essential that every unemployed Gemini sends out their resumes to places that interest them. The prediction advises the unemployed to focus their energy on working abroad, which may not be a bad idea. Even if you don't realize it at first, such a change in your life can be welcome. These early months of the year are also suitable for a Gemini who wants to change jobs. You are respected and recognized in your surroundings. Perhaps the fact that you are thinking about changing jobs will make your employer look at your past performance. Thanks to this, you can advance in the job you are in. The employer will be aware of your benefits and your strength, which you put into your daily work. Professional presentations or projects that you solve at the beginning of this year are successful. You gain the trust of your colleagues right at the beginning of the year. You are set on the right, ideal path to your goal and career success. If you are a Gemini who is satisfied with your job, for this year will be extremely favorable for you. If you're a Gemini thinking about making a change, wait a little longer. Thanks to analytical thinking, you can easily calculate all the pros and cons that flow from your previous employment. Even a Gemini who works at home can expect opportunities that will enrich him with some extra money. Every Gemini knows their physical boundaries and limits in the first part of the year. If you work physically, it is possible that your work is excessively physically exhausting. In that case, perhaps a small change is appropriate. Do not take on more work than you can handle, warns the forecast. If you are mentally exhausted, the prediction recommends that you also engage in creative activities at home. consider photography, walking, painting, or any creative activity that is different from what you do. Such activity can help you mentally restore your strength and energy. In the second half of the year, from the summer months of this year, your interests are more focused on family, finances, and vacations. If you haven't done so yet, from September 15th you have the perfect opportunity to relax, in the company of your loved ones. Whether you go on vacation with family or friends, don't forget to organize everything well. During the period when your ruling planet is in retrograde motion, the horoscope does not recommend you to travel far. You feel the retrograde movement of Mercury up to 4 times during the year. The first such period is the beginning of the year until January 18th. The second period when the prediction does not recommend you to travel for rest are the days from April 21st to May 15th and then from August 23rd to September 15th. These weeks are not ideal for a vacation, because this decision of yours could complicate several problems related to travel, or even finances. Another unsuitable period for traveling abroad are the days from December 13th until the beginning of 2024. Work in this year is closely related to your rest. If you are not sufficiently rested, you will not be able to properly think about your work or your career future. As for finances, the astrological aspects are set appropriately so that finances do not bother you in this year. The correct position of the planet Venus in the second astrological house in the months of June and July, as well as the excellent position of Mercury in the months of July and August, is a harbinger of a better financial situation for every Gemini. Again, the second part of the year will be fully manifested in this direction. Then you don't even have to worry about bigger expenses. If you are wondering whether for this year is suitable for buying real estate, renovating, or buying a vehicle, the forecast recommends waiting. Maybe it's a good idea in the months of June, July, and August. Anyway, only if you have more financial cash available than the financial reserve. Finances need not trouble you in this year. However, it is good to save money, mainly because of the more unstable next year, which the prediction knows will be more demanding on Gemini's finances. The only, but huge warning for every Gemini is gambling, which could cause considerable complications in the financial budget of each of you. If you are a Gemini who is close to gambling, it is time to solve this big problem of yours. If you belong to a Gemini who has a person in the family subject to this ailment, it is imperative that you take more interest in this person before they lose what may be yours. Be interested in the financial budget of other members of your family, as well as their career direction. It is also likely that in this year you will meet someone who will jumpstart your potential for successful business. It provides a forecast for this year regarding Gemini's career and finances. Gemini health prediction for this period. The health forecast for the third sign in the order Gemini for this period speaks of this year as a time when you have to work with routine. It's a time when you don't stay stuck in one place for a long time. You are dealing with past health problems and are always on the move, always solving something. The fortune teller describes this year as a year of activity for each Gemini. He will need good health due to his work or relationship commitment and several household responsibilities. In the previous period, you were not very interested in health. However, this attitude of yours will have to be changed in this year. Thanks to the fact that your health is in a fairly good balance, the previous careless attitude towards your health did not have to hurt you. However, for this year will alert you to every problem that you neglected in the past. From a health point of view, this year is a harbinger of anxiety and depression. Especially with the arrival of this year, when you are absorbed by several obligations that deprive you of quality sleep. If you feel exhausted, getting a good night's sleep is essential. For this reason, the horoscope tells you to reach for herbal teas or even aromatherapy. With these steps and a natural way of treating your problem, you can eliminate depression or sadness in its beginnings. 2023 is a year that promises improvement in health, but only from the second quarter of this year. On the other hand, the first part of the year will be very difficult for every Gemini. The problem will mainly arise for those who have neglected preventive examinations in previous years, or a balanced and healthy diet. Even the wrong habit regarding the drinking regime can now torment you. Healthy habits are now the golden ticket to boosting your health. Gemini health forecast for this period highlights the first 3 months, January, February and March, as a period when Gemini should solve all previous problems. In these months, every Gemini must undergo preventive health checkups that you forgot or ignored last year. These preventive examinations will tell you more about your physical health. As for mental health, you must also conscientiously take care of that in this year. Even mental problems, a lot of responsibilities, or dissatisfaction with some area of your life can cause your physical health to deteriorate. In this year, the prediction also warns Gemini about gaining weight. This can appear especially in those Geminis who have developed unhealthy eating habits. For every Gemini in this year, it is essential to stimulate the heart chakra. Also supplement with vitamin D and minerals that your body needs. You should be more interested in your diet, not only in the first 3 months of the year. Eating is an important part of everyone's health. Even rest and relaxation after a hard day, which you neglect, can mean that your daily hustle and bustle will affect your mental and physical health. It is therefore necessary not only to eat properly, but also to get enough rest. If you find harmony between these rules to strengthen your health, it is clear that the second chapter of the year will not affect your health in anything special. Health in the new year can be associated with both stress and anxiety. To eliminate these problems, which are also related to the mental health of the Gemini, use the balancing of the heart chakra. If you feel persistent fatigue, it is essential to see a doctor, warns the health prediction for this year. This fatigue may be related to a neglected ongoing illness that you certainly cannot diagnose yourself. Therefore, it is essential to see a specialist in time, and he will advise you on what is the source of this persistent fatigue in your case. Preventive examinations must be completed by every Gemini at an advanced age. Problems can arise with these twins, especially if they underestimate their health complications for a long time. The time you invest in taking care of your health in this year will return to you in the form of better energy and an overall better mental attitude. If you feel a lot of sadness, depression, or anxiety during your normal days, don't forget your family, whose love is the way to overcome any bad psychological feeling. Gemini will also face headaches in the second stage of the year. For these reasons, it is essential to start moving physically. Every day you should take at least one walk in nature or a short exercise. Physical movement is what your body requires now. Aside from a healthy diet, which Gemini will not always be able to follow, lack of physical exercise is the second main cause of unpleasant feelings in the direction of your health. It is possible that Gemini will struggle with liver problems or digestive difficulties in this year. Students born under the Gemini sign, as well as those Geminis who are learning, are disturbed by problems with concentration. Aromatherapy and lavender oil can help you focus more on the things you are doing. Place this oil in your home or office. It will definitely help you throughout for this year. In the period from July 23rd to September 4th, the forecast warns every Gemini about accidents and risky activities that can turn out to be very dangerous. Any Gemini should be careful during the movement of retrograde Venus in the 5th astrological house. Caution is required not only for those twins who work physically. Even a Gemini who gets behind the wheel under the influence of alcohol or another addictive substance can expect huge complications related to this decision. Therefore, the fortune teller strongly recommends that you take care of your health in this regard as well. Another such aspect occurs in the final month December, when retrograde Mercury enters this retrograde motion for the 4th time during this year. So, from December 13th, increase your caution towards things that can complicate your health. Do not stay in the company of people who are sick, and they can also endanger your short-term health. Any illness in December will be more difficult and long-term to treat, warns the health forecast for this year for the Gemini sign. The health prediction has stated several times that during this year Gemini will mainly feel the disharmony of the heart chakra. A blocked heart chakra can mean problems with accepting love and relationships as such. This heart chakra will be manifested by its blockage in the first stage of the year, when you cannot identify with your own feelings, emotions, and cannot accept yourself as you are. In order not to be engulfed by a flood of negative emotions or sadness, it is necessary to unblock this chakra. You will do this not only through meditation, but also through colors. The heart chakra is related to your lucky color of this year, the color green. It should be part of your home and office throughout the year. Use this color, accessories of this color to heal and harmonize the fourth heart chakra. You can also enrich your wardrobe with accessories of this color, so you will always have something green with you, which will protect you from the adverse effects of the outside world on your health. An improperly balanced heart chakra does not only manifest itself through psychological difficulties. If the Gemini does not take enough care of her, it can later lead to physical problems of a heart nature. It can also cause spine and lower back pain, or persistent back pain. If you are already experiencing these problems, it is clear that you need to work with this chakra immediately. You now need to harmonize the energy of your life with the heart chakra, describes the annual health forecast for this year. So, what negatives does the prediction predict? More negative energies at the beginning of the year, which Gemini should worry about if they are troubled by the past or other persistent problems, are the first observation of the forecast. The forecast also warns of injuries or car accidents that may be caused by Gemini's wrong thinking and wrong decisions. Be careful throughout the year. At the end of the year, the forecast also predicts a decline in energy from December 13th. Then you should rest more, exercise, and eat healthier. The prediction has the same recommendations from the beginning of this year, when the first 3 months seem to be the most demanding on Gemini's health. Otherwise, health seems to be in overall harmony. But only if the Gemini makes it to all preventive examinations, which will definitely tell him more about his health in this year. You should include more leafy vegetables in your diet. Concentrate your strength and energy on preparing meals at home. Eat cooked food prepared by yourself or another member of your household at least 4 times a week. Try to avoid unhealthy fats. Discover more vegetables and fruits in your diet. Be aware that meat does not have to be a daily part of your diet, the Gemini health prediction for this period strongly underlines. Treat yourself to a vegetarian menu all day at least once or twice a week. This step will significantly improve your energy and overall health, adds the year-round horoscope. By eating vegetarian food at least a few times a week, you protect not only the planet but also yourself, your heart, blood vessels, your health future. Dear friends, this was an overview of the year 2023. Listen to predictions for others, and find out more facts about the year and its effects on your friends, family members, and you. Horoscope and Divination wish you all the best in this stunning year. According to Chinese astrology, 2023 is the year of Water Rabbit, when good things are coming. Listen to Chinese Horoscopes 2023 as well and be ready for this year. Subscribe to our channel for more information from the zodiac world. Remember to support us by subscription. In the description below, you will find links for all essential horoscopes. Know yourself better with the Horoscope Divination site, with free horoscopes and tarot readings. Wish you all the best in 2023.